Every level of Ash Pokemon explained. Level 1, Trash. This is the bottom of the barrel, the worst of the worst, the most forgettable, inconsequential Pokemon Ash has ever caught. These are the ones that made zero impact, no defining traits, no memorable moments. They're the kind of Pokemon that could vanish from an anime tomorrow and nobody would notice. Take Unfezant for example. Sure, it had that evolution moment in Ash's gym battle against Skyla, but outside of that, nothing. It barely got used, and outside of the gym battle, its only defining moment was losing to Riolu in the Unova League. It's no wonder Ash literally sent her away for the rest of the series after this. Then there's Pidgeot, the original useless bird. I firmly believe that people only cared about Pidgeot because of Ash's promise to reunite with it, but before that, it literally did nothing as a Pidgeotto. People remember the nostalgia, not the actual bird. And now that it returned, it ironically lost what made people care about it to begin with. Have fun enjoying Pidgeot now that it finally decided to show up at the very end of Ash's journey. And Palpitoad, this guy's claim to fame is existing in like what, 6 episodes? It's not terrible performance-wise, but it's so irrelevant and forgettable that if you removed it entirely, nothing about Ash's journey would really change. And finally, Boldore, another Pokemon that barely showed up. It had one cool evolution moment against Clay, but that was in Unova, the region where Ash had 3 gym evolutions, so even that wasn't special. Level 2, Bad. What helps these Pokemon escape the bottom tier is that they might have had 1 or 2 defining traits or moments, but that's it. Overall, they're still pretty bad. Take Totodile. He's funny, he's goofy, he's always dancing with joy, but that's literally all he does. It's entertaining at first, sure, but that joke gets old real fast. And when you realize he barely wins battles, it just feels like a wasted starter potential. Then there's Noivern and Torkoal, 2 Pokemon known less for winning and more for losing. Noivern at least had a great arc learning to fly as a Noibat, and a banger evolution moment during the fight against Zapdos, but he still never won a single match in the Kalos League. As for Torkoal, he's mostly remembered for crying a lot. He's emotional, which is funny and kind of endearing, but that's really all there is to him. He had one solid showing against Registeel, but even then he still lost. Then there's the Pokemon that don't know the definition of the word screen time, like Muck. He had a total of 2 battles in the entire series, and his whole identity revolves around the gag of smothering Ash and especially Professor Oak. Now I will admit it is a funny gag, iconic even, but that's literally it. Primeape is wasted potential. He started off as a total menace, then finally came around to Ash only to immediately get sent away in the same episode. Fans love him for what he could have been, especially now that Annihilape exists, but if we're judging only his time with Ash, he's barely there. And lastly, Kingler. He had one of the most insane debut battles ever, a complete sweep and evolution in Ash's first league match. But after that, bro just vanished, with practically 0 screen time after Johto. He had one glorious moment and then poof, gone, reduced to atoms. Level 2 Pokemon aren't hopeless, they just never lived up to what could have been. Now before revealing which of Ash's Pokemon are mid, have you ever realized just how bad your old setup is? Shout out to my old chair that caused me back pains and literally gave up on me. If you can relate, then you're gonna love this upgrade, thanks to today's sponsor, FlexiSpot. I got the FlexiSpot E7 standing desk and the C7 ergonomic chair, and honestly, they've been total game changers. The E7 is built like a tank, with a dual motor lift system that supports up to 355 pounds, raises smoothly over 48 inches, and stays completely stable the whole time. It's perfect for long editing and gaming sessions since it lets me switch between sitting and standing whenever I need a break. And the C7 chair, it is amazing. Fully adjustable with a 3D headrest, adaptive lumbar support, and even a pull-out footrest for whenever you want to lean back and get comfortable. It is the most comfortable chair I've ever used, and it is so perfect for editing or streaming. Don't miss FlexiSpot's Black Friday sale, up to 80% off, the best discount you'll get over the year, and there's also a chance to get 100% free orders. Use my desk code YTE730 to save $30 off the E7 standing desk, and my chair code C730 to get $30 off the C7 ergonomic chair. Check the link below and upgrade your setup today. Level 3, Mid. Alright, this is where people might start to get mad at me because nobody wants to hear that their favorite Ash Pokemon is mid. But I'm just gonna be honest, these guys aren't terrible, but they're not amazing either. They exist somewhere in this awkward middle ground, good ideas that never fully delivered. I'm talking Pokemon like Pignite, the poster boy for this tier. How many times can we do the abandoned Firestarter storyline? Charizard, Infernape, and then again with Pignite? He's basically discount Infernape. a rehash without the emotional depth and evolutionary payoff. And speaking of evolution, he never reached Emboar. Now sure, not every Pokemon needs to evolve, but when you follow up 2 fully evolved fire starters with a half-finished one, it feels like a step backwards. Still, I will give him credit. For better or for worse, Pignite was one of the few Unova Pokemon that actually got consistent screen time and meaningful moments. Forced or not, at least he did something. And then there's Pokemon that had potential but got buried under the weight of more popular team members. Heracross had a great personality and solid strength, but he got shipped off to Professor Oak's lab early in Johto, completely killing his momentum. He came back for cool moments later during the Johto League, Battle Frontier, and even Sinnoh League, but by then he was more nostalgic than relevant. Noctowl should have been special for being Ash's shiny Pokemon, but it barely got used. Leavanny had personality and solid wins, but was constantly overshadowed by the Unova starters. Tauros and Mimey have their moments, and I could see them being far more useful, but they're mostly relegated to reoccurring gags whenever Ash returns to Pallet Town. I will give Journey's credit for giving Mimey way more screen time, but at the same time, he quickly became a background character after Ash caught Dragonite. And then we've got the short timers, Pokemon who were around long enough to make us feel something before they were gone. Butterfree hurts to see here, but let's be honest, he's kinda mid. We all remember Bye Bye Butterfree, that one heartbreaking farewell episode, but before that, he didn't really do much. Our nostalgia for the goodbye overshadows the fact that Butterfree barely had time to grow as a character. Lapras was the same deal. It had one role, to ferry Ash across the Orange Islands, but no defining battles and no standout arcs. Even when it returned twice, nothing meaningful came from it. And Larvitar loved the concept with its dramatic backstory that slowly unraveled, but it wasn't really treated like a true member of Ash's team. It was more of a temporary companion and then gone before it could even evolve or make an impact. These level 3 Pokemon aren't bad, they had potential, but something, whether it was a lack of screen time or poor timing or being overshadowed, kept them from truly shining. Level 4. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. These Pokemon are better than mid, they've got personality, power, or presence, but something still holds them back from greatness. They're okay, reliable, enjoyable, but not quite unforgettable. Let's start with Snivy, because she's the perfect definition of okay. She's confident, sassy, and has one of the strongest personalities of Ash's Unova team. Her rivalry with Iris' Emolga was gold, and her backstory, leaving her bad trainer, had real potential, but the anime never did anything with it. For all of her hyped up talent, she never evolved, never learned new moves, and mostly existed to help Pignite's development. She stayed exactly the same from start to finish, stylish but stagnant. Then we have the ones that should have been top tier, but couldn't keep up the momentum. Goodra had one of the best emotional stories in Kalos, and was overhyped by its early victories, only to be a Kalos League jobber. Dragonite started off like a monster in Journeys, wrecking opponents left and right, only to completely fall off in the second half of the series. Torterra peaked as a Turtwig, but once it evolved, it lost personality, speed, and even the will to live, I guess. And Gengar is the opposite case. Started off weak and neglected, borderline terrible, but then had a major glow up in the second half, saving it from the bad tier. Next are Pokemon that clearly had something special, they just didn't get the spotlight they deserved. Naganadel reuniting with Ash for the Alola League was awesome, Gibble's goofiness and raw potential was loved by many, Scraggy's training with Axew was adorable, Melmetal was powerful and unpredictable, Dracovish was a comedic powerhouse, and Talonflame was always overshadowed by Greninja, let's be honest. These Pokemon proved that consistency matters more than raw strength, and the anime just didn't give them enough time to prove themselves. And finally, Nebby, Ash's Solgaleo. It's honestly amazing that Ash befriended a legendary Pokemon, and as a Cosmog, Nebby was full of fun and personality, but once it evolved and helped Ash reach Ultra Space, it just disappeared. Incredible potential, beautiful concept, but no real payoff after its evolution. I guess it was too powerful to stay with Ash and leave a real impact. Otherwise, it would have made the next tier. Level 5. Good. Alright, from here on out, we're actually getting into the solid Ash Ketchum Pokemon. Whether it's strong battle performances, great character development, or pure personality, these Pokemon stand out for one reason or another. Let's start with the ones that shine because of their character. Bayleaf isn't remembered for her battles, but her personality alone makes her unforgettable. She's passionate and hilariously jealous whenever Ash shows affection to anyone else. Easily one of his most lovable Pokemon ever. Corphish is pure chaos, loud, hot-headed, and full of energy, but also surprisingly reliable in battle. He's the comedic heartbeat of the Hoenn team, and still finds ways to clutch wins when it matters most. Buizel is definitely hit or miss when it comes to victories, but his shonen protagonist attitude more than makes up for it. He's fierce, determined, and confident, everything you'd expect from an Ash Pokemon. Next, let's call this the bird section. Starting with Rowlet. He's sleepy, goofy, and absolutely perfect for the Alola vibe. Despite the laziness, Rowlet has a surprisingly strong win record, proving that personality and performance can go hand in hand. Sirfetch'd, or Kamon, is one of Ash's most underrated battlers. Chivalrous, determined, and always gives it its all. He might not get the spotlight he deserves in Journeys, but when he does appear, he always goes crazy. Just check out some of his Masters 8 battles. Hawlucha is another standout. With his dynamic flying press finishes, it's impossible not to respect him. Every battle with him felt like a wrestling match, thanks to his pride as a battler. Now, he's not just about flashiness either, as we even see his nurturing side in the way that he took in Noivern as his little brother. He's so cool, man. Then there are the Pokemon who aren't necessarily flashy, but you can always count on them. Snorlax may have started out lazy, but when Ash really needed him, especially in Johto and beyond, he delivered. A true powerhouse and beast, and one of Ash's most dependable tanks. And of course, how can we forget that one battle where he used 6 moves? We always gotta mention that. Staraptor, Donphan, and Quilava also belong here. They're not the most emotional or expressive Pokemon, but they're consistent, always reliable, and always ready. They may not be aces, but they carry their weight better than most. And of course, we can't skip Lucario. There's no denying it, Lucario is good. He's powerful, dependable, and one of Ash's most heavily featured Pokemon ever. But let's be real, that's also kind of a problem. Lucario got so much screen time during Journeys that it started to feel forced. And after evolving, he lost the playful charm that made Riolu so lovable. Still, his strength and consistency make him impossible to ignore. He's really good, but not quite on the same level as level 6. Great. These are the ones that are fully fleshed out in at least one major way. Something about them just clicks, and they are definitely some of Ash's top tier Pokemon. You might be surprised by a few picks here, but let's start strong. Sceptile is undeniably the ace of Hoenn. Strong, dependable, and effortlessly cool. Sceptile has the kind of aura that makes him instantly iconic. From chasing down a speed form Deoxys to taking out Tobias's Darkrai, he's earned his legendary status. The only thing holding him back from going higher though is his rocky start. For an ace, he actually took a lot of early losses. But once he evolved, he skyrocketed in power and skill, becoming one of Ash's most respected Pokemon. Swellow is an absolute beast on the battlefield. From the moment it joined Ash's team, Swellow proved itself as a fearless battler, resilient, determined, and clutch in tough situations. This is a Pokemon that stood toe-to-toe with Pikachu as a Tailo, and even taking Thunder head-on to pull off the unforgettable Thunder Armor strategy. That moment alone cements Swellow's legend, even if it makes no sense at all. Pure grit, pure guts, and all heart. This is Ash's best bird. Aipom is a Pokemon with one of the most complete character arcs. Aipom wasn't just comic relief, it had genuine personality, drive, and story development. Its obsession with contests was built up intentionally throughout Battle Frontier and Sinnoh, setting up its trade with Dawn perfectly. Yeah, the way it was written off to pursue Ping Pong was pretty much character assassination, but we can all agree that everything before that point was pretty peak character writing. Now Ash's Rockruff turned Lycanroc is near perfect. It's strong, it's well developed, and one of the few Pokemon that balances its fun personality with serious battle strength. Between its determination, its rivalry with Gladiion's Lycanroc, and the fact that it won Ash the Alola League, it's everything a great Ash Pokemon should be. Now Crocodile is the true ace of Unova. His setup was flawless, following Ash from the very start of the region, constantly reappearing, and even forming a rivalry with Pikachu before being captured. It was amazing. And once on the team, he became a powerhouse, confident, dominant, and full of swagger, when he didn't lose his glasses. The only thing holding him back is that he didn't really get the screen time he deserved. Then there's Gliscor, an underrated gem and one of the most lovable personalities. From his goofy energy to his determination to improve, Gliscor's growth arc is incredible. Training with the Air Battle Master and then returning to crush it in the Sinnoh League, that's some top tier character development right there. Sure, his win rate before that is absolutely abysmal, but his spirit and journey easily make up for it. Now Squirtle is an icon. The shades, the Squirtle Squad, the attitude, the loyalty. Squirtle is everything people love about classic Ash. He's fun, brave, dependable, and full of nostalgia. Every return feels special, and every appearance reminds you why he's such a legend. And yeah, I guess that's really all I gotta say. I mean, it's Squirtle. And now this one might surprise you, but I also have Oshawott in this tier. Sure, it isn't a great battler, let's be honest. But greatness isn't just about wins. He is the perfect comedic relief Pokemon. His timing, expressions, and versatility in every situation made him one of the funniest and most charming members of Ash's Pokemon teams. His gags never got stale because he always found new ways to make us laugh. And that's exactly what the comedic relief needs to be. He's not just one joke, he's got it all. And honestly, maybe it's for the best that he wasn't too strong, because if Oshawott had wins to match his personality, he might have broken the scale and entered Level 7. GOAT. These are, without question, the greatest Ash Ketchum Pokemon of all time. They don't miss in any category. Not power, not personality, and not story. Every Pokemon here defines what it means to be one of Ash's true partners. Just like Pikachu. As Ash's first Pokemon and his partner through every region, Pikachu naturally has the advantage. But it's more than that. Pikachu is the perfect partner Pokemon. He's loyal, emotional, brave, and completely in sync with Ash. He grows stronger with every series, taking down rivals and legendary Pokemon like they're nothing. He's won countless major battles, from taking out a Latios and Tapu Koko to helping Ash finally claim the title of world champion. Pikachu isn't just Ash's first Pokemon, he's the embodiment of everything Ash stands for. Then there's Bulbasaur, Ash's longest standing Pokemon outside of Pikachu, and arguably his most consistent. Bulbasaur is dependable, wise, and one of Ash's most trusted Pokemon even years after his capture. He's always been a protector, as seen in his debut, and then later he becomes the Peacekeeper at Oak's lab, showing the natural role that he fills there. He's also battled and won in more official matches than almost anyone else on Ash's roster. Bulbasaur might not evolve, but he never needed to. He is the model of reliability, heart, and consistency. Next is Greninja, Ash's coolest Pokemon ever, in my opinion. Greninja is the definition of bond through battle. A Pokemon so in sync with Ash that it created an entirely new transformation, Satoshi Gekkoga. The Ash Greninja form is legendary, symbolizing how deep their connection truly runs. From humble beginnings to protecting Kalos, Greninja has always shown to be the selfless GOAT. The only thing that sucks is the fact that he got released, but even that was kinda fitting, choosing duty over comfort, like a true hero. I'm still salty about it though. Now Charizard is the OG redemption story. From his emotional start as an abandoned Charmander to his rebellious teen phase, Charizard perfectly captures Ash's growing pains as a trainer. Their journey from conflict to mutual respect remains one of the most iconic arcs in the entire anime. When Charizard returns, he almost always delivers, bringing power, pride, and a presence that steals every scene. He is the blueprint for every fire starter that came after him, and the standout for what a true powerhouse looks like. Now Incineroar is how you do a fire starter arc right. Instead of repeating the abandoned trope, Incineroar had a story of mentorship and perseverance. Starting as a tiny Litten, mourning its mentor Stoutland. Watching Ash earn its trust and help it overcome that loss was incredibly touching. And when it finally evolved and defeated Professor Kukui's Incineroar, it felt like a full circle victory, both for Ash and for Litten's journey. It's emotional, powerful, and deeply satisfying. A perfect Pokemon story from start to finish. And now we've reached the true masterpiece of character and emotion, Infernape. Much like Charizard, Infernape was abandoned by its original trainer, but its story hits even deeper. Tied directly to Ash's rivalry with Paul, Infernape's arc wasn't just about strength, it was about proving that kindness and trust can create true power. His struggles with Blaze, his drive to overcome Paul's cruelty, and his eventual triumph in the Sinnoh League made for one of the most emotional climaxes in Pokemon history. Every part of his story felt personal, not just to Ash, but for every fan watching. And that's why Infernape isn't just one of Ash's greatest Pokemon, he's one of the greatest stories the anime has ever told.